10 years ago today, the U.S. military began bombing targets in Afghanistan. It was just 3 weeks after 9/11. No one knew it at the time, but a secret team of CIA officers was already on the ground, paving the way for the fall of the Taliban. Most of these operatives have never been named, but tonight, David Martin hears the story from the man who led the covert operation.
By the time bombing started, the CIA's Gary Schroen had been on the ground for nearly 2 weeks. One last mission for a 59-year-old man who on 9/11 had been filling out his retirement papers.
Everybody in the United States wanted to be the first person to go after bin Laden and get this hunt going, and here they had given me that role.
Schroen, who had spent 32 years as a covert operator, was to lead a small team of Americans, shown here with their faces blurred in a photo released by the CIA. The CIA's chief of counterterrorism gave him explicit orders to kill.
I want you to cut bin Laden's head off, put it on dry ice, and send it back to me so I can show the president.
Was he serious?
Yeah, I think so.
CIA pilots flew the team, codenamed Jawbreaker, in a Russian helicopter over a 14,000-foot pass into northern Afghanistan, armed with a small fortune.
We had $3 million in cash, in $100 bills that were non-sequential and shrink-wrapped in $100,000 bundles.
How heavy is $3 million?
It's about 50 pounds.
50 pounds of cash?
Yeah, 50 pounds of cash.
That one helicopter, which not by accident had the tail number 91101, was their only way in and their only way out. There was no rescue plan.
The military said that it was too dangerous to send their personnel in, and so we went by ourselves.
The CIA and military now work closely together in operations like the bin Laden raid. It wasn't like that at the beginning.
The whole U.S. military was caught flat-footed. I don't think anyone had ever raised the issue, how do we go into Afghanistan?
The CIA team linked up with fighters from the Northern Alliance who were trying to break through Taliban front lines and head for Kabul. They couldn't do it without U.S. airstrikes.
Who's directing the bombing?
Nobody was calling the shots. It was almost useless bombing because we really weren't impacting the front lines, which is where the Taliban fighters were hunkered down.
It took another 2 weeks for American Special Forces to arrive with laser devices to pinpoint the targets. Then the bombing finally began shifting to the front lines. Once it did,
our guys were listening to the radios, and the panic, the screaming, the shouting as bunkers, down the line were going up from 2,000-pound bombs. I mean, they were just simply devastated, and they broke.
Kabul fell to the Northern Alliance within a week. By then, Schroen had spent $5.2 million, which turned out to be just the first down payment on a war which has now cost some $450 billion. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
And of course, there is the human cost. 1,802 Americans have lost their lives in the Afghan war. 13,011 have been wounded.